the main thing I want you to take away from this is it's gonna suck, but it's gonna be rewarding, all right? You will be rewarded for your effort. It's not like things where you'll do it, you work super hard, and no one will care, right? And let's be honest, right? We're human beings. We desire to be noticed. We desire to be cared about. We desire to have the things that we do have meaning, right? So you're not just saying, oh, I work out for myself and you're gonna hide in your room. No, you're gonna show it off. You're gonna walk around and people are gonna notice. And for a lot of you, that's maybe something you want. Maybe you feel invisible, you feel weak, and you want something to level yourself up. This is definitely what's gonna do it. Most videos on calisthenics are just like, here's a tutorial, do this to get that. And they leave it at that, right? The reality is your weight changes a lot. Your weight changes a lot of how things are gonna go, right? If you start off skinny, you're definitely gonna have an easier time, right? Because you don't really weigh a lot. There's nothing really holding you down, right? You can, for the most part, do like level 0 progressions and then work your way up, no problem. But if you're overweight, level 0 will feel like level 100. You need to cut that weight first, all right? Calorie deficit, train consistently, that's it. If you're not losing weight, you're not eating in a deficit. You're lying to yourself, be real. If you're not gaining weight, you're not eating in a surplus. You're lying to yourself, be real. And don't say, I don't know how much to eat, I don't know how to do my diet. Go on Google, calorie calculator, you can figure it out, all right? You're watching this video, you're a smart person, you can figure this out. Now, one thing I did wish someone told me is how to know when I'm actually making progress. Now, I know that may seem obvious, like, oh, when you can do the thing and you've made progress, you've made progress. Like, I know it seems obvious, but you'll be training a lot and things will seem like they're moving real slow or you're plateauing. You don't know whether or not you're actually moving the needle forward or if it's all staying the same. If you're training with correct form, with enough volume, you're gonna make progress, right? And most of the time, your progress won't even show up till after you hit like a deload week, till after you fully rest, then all the gains start coming in, right? You don't gain strength when you're actually working out, you gain it when you're resting afterwards. You've eaten, you're sleeping, you wake up, now you're stronger. So if you're going every single day in the gym, no rest, you're not gonna move the needle because there's no time to recover, right? I go in every other day, push, pull, whatever I'm doing, right? I'll talk about schedules later on. But if you go on like that, you have a day in between and recover, then every 3 to 4 weeks, take a deload week. Now you come back, you're gonna be stronger. You may not feel stronger, but you'll be surprised. After a while of doing it, maybe a month or two of just staying consistent, not worrying about it, making sure you're focused, making sure the form is correct, making sure your form is correct, your mind-muscle connection is correct, recording yourself, watching yourself, making sure everything's good. A month or two, you'll be like, I can do this now. And on that note, I do wanna talk about timetables. Because y'all are impatient. No, we are impatient. I was impatient too. Everyone's impatient. Everyone wants results. Now, it don't work like that. It's not gonna work like that. Do not ask yourself, or me, talking to my clients here, stop asking me this. Do not ask me how long it is going to take. Nobody knows. I'm not gonna give you a number to make you feel better. No one knows. People can put up a range, 6 months to a year. What does that mean? Can you perceive 6 months in the future? You really can't, Just do the thing and the thing will happen. I'm being so honest with you, just do the thing, all right? Don't set a deadline for yourself and then be disappointed when you don't meet it. There's no need for that. Don't set a deadline and then try to speed run and rush, cut corners, don't rest, you're injured, like I have to make it by now. Stop that. I know it's good to have a goal post, you can work towards, right? If you just have a consistent schedule, you're gonna hit it. Whether it's a year, 2 years, a couple months, everyone's recovery capacity is different. Everyone's body is different. This guy can do it in 6 months. This guy, it takes 2 years. You did it anyway, And what are you in the rush for, right? Calisthenics is a lifestyle. Why are you rushing? You have somewhere to be? Like once you're done with the skill, are you gonna leave? No, you're gonna stay doing it. So there's no point to rush it, The important thing to note is that the skills are achievable. Just know that in the back of your head, what I'm doing right now, what I'm training, I can achieve this. Let me stop being a little baby and stop trying to time gate everything. The first 3 months of your training is going to be the sucky ages. Nothing's gonna go right. You don't know what you're doing. I mean, unless you do one-on-one coaching with me, then you might know what you're doing because I'll just tell you. But if you're doing it by yourself, organically doing your own research, doing all that, heavy lifting, you're not gonna know what the hell's going on. You're gonna go on a YouTube video, watch how to do it, you're gonna train it, do it incorrectly, then watch it back and be like, I'm doing it, why isn't it working? Then when you realize you should be recording yourself, you see, I'm doing it wrong. You fix your form, you go back, you still do it wrong because you realize you're too weak to do it correctly. It's just a back and forth, right? It's not gonna go right the first time, and that's expected. That's what should be happening because you're learning. That's why I can tell like my client, hey, do it like this, record yourself, do that. I just saved them like 2 months. No one records themselves when they start. I don't know why. Record yourself, watch your form, and you'll rocket past with progress because you'll see, especially with things like the handstand, if you're not recording yourself when you're training a handstand, what's the point? You're not gonna know where you messed up. You're just gonna kick up and fall down. You have no idea what happened. Record yourself from the side, see where your body's moving. There you go, now you have something to work with, you know? Next thing, let's talk about how to split up your schedule. I'd have 2 training schedules right now that I use, and that is the push and pull on one day, rest, push and pull, rest, push and pull. So every other day, and then I have the push one day, pull one day, rest, and that repeats. Push, pull, rest, right? Those are the 2 schedules I recommend you do for skill training. I'm gonna talk about skill training a lot in this because skill training I think is the main point of calisthenics, in my opinion. That's what I think is the whole point. I know some people like an alternative to the gym, so they do calisthenics at home. You know, they just want to get their body looking okay. They don't really care about the skills. When training calisthenics, I think there's only 2 real purposes to it, and that is skill training, and that is preconditioning your body before you go to weightlifting. And for the weightlifting one, I always say condition your body, work with your own body's weight, be able to handle that before adding external force. I know a lot of people jump straight into weightlifting just because that's just what you're supposed to do, right? You go to the gym, you lift weights, that's what everyone else, that's all everybody really knows, how we grew up knowing, and I also fell victim to the same thing. And I would just have constant shoulder pain trying to do bench presses because I never did shoulder conditioning. I would have constant wrist pain, I never did wrist conditioning. I didn't condition my body with my body first before moving on to other things, and so it just sucked. I know a lot of people go through that. Even people who are lifting super heavy right now, crazy imbalances, crazy pain. I hear it all the time. Seasoned lifters at my gym in constant pain because they don't do mobility or joint work. They just go in, lift heavy, and they're like, why does it hurt? How many skills should you train at the same time? I know it can get really addicting trying to add on skills. You're watching videos, you're on a calisthenic binge, right? You're watching this skill and that skill and this. You're like, wow, I want to train them all at the same time. Stop it. Realistically, you should be training as you start 1 to 2 skills, right? Once you get more intermediate, advanced, 2 to 3 skills. You don't ever really want to go past 3, right? Because think about it, right? The way I break up my skill training is 1, handstand has been trained since I started, right? So that's the 3rd skill. I do a push skill, a pull skill, and handstand. So the front lever, the fingers are backwards. So the handstand push-up, the front lever, handstand, right? Because you're doing your pulling, forget the fingers, I'm done with the fingers, right? You do your pushing muscle groups, you're doing your pulling muscle groups. There is some overlap, but in general, you're training 2 different types of styles, so it's fine. Then your handstand is just kind of like a weird in-between style. It's more body control and balance, so it's fine. It'll be much more beneficial for you if you take it 1 at a time for each individual muscle group and then, move that way. If you're training 1 skill, right, stop consuming so much information for that 1 skill. Take something, try it out. If it works for you, if it doesn't, then take it in slowly and slowly, and don't just immediately change your workout every time because you saw a new way to do something. Just stick to the thing you started with, and if it really seems inefficient, then change. Use your head, listen to your body is the most important thing. Listen to yourself. And if you're like, this isn't really working, try the other thing, find out what works best for you. My first introduction to calisthenics was through Daniel Lysons. He's a calisthenic athlete over there somewhere, not in America, somewhere in the really cold area. The video that really got me into wanting to do skill training and calisthenics is one that's not on his channel anymore. It was like 14 years ago from now, right? 14 years ago, it was a video of him like when he was like a teenager, really, really young, on a playground in the snow, doing skills, like doing dynamic skills. And I was like, how on earth is this kid doing this, right? And I remember that being the most motivating video I've ever seen. It was super scuffed, right? It was like not the best quality. There wasn't any flair to it, but it was real. And it was like, wow, I can do that. And after a certain point in my life, I was like, you know what? I'm tired of being the same. I'm tired of just being weak, skinny, nothing's changing. It's time to make that change. I decided to start calisthenics. And I remember it was literally in this spot, more like over there-ish, right? I was kneeling down in front of the mirror and I was looking at myself and I was like, I hate this. Not myself. I didn't hate myself, but I hated the position I was in, and I hated how I just felt like everything was just stopped. Like there was no motion in my life at all. Calisthenics was the catalyst that propelled my overall development in my life and made me start doing things with myself. I know everyone's start is a little different. Yours may be a bit more heartfelt. Maybe you got a heartbreak, something traumatic happened in your life, or you just wanted to change just like me. But that's what propelled me into wanting to do skill training. And I think calisthenics is very special because it is ridiculously hard. It has no business being this difficult, right? No one's gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, it's super easy. Calisthenics is very, very difficult, which is why it's very, very fun. And for someone like myself, I think I just like working. Even when I'm playing video games, I'll be playing it for like 17 hours straight, just grinding. Games that need the grind, I love them. Valheim, Smallland, Black Desert, Rift. If you remember Rift, crazy. And so, and the gamer mentality is just grind, grind, grind. If it's easy, you're bored, right? You want a challenge always, right? And calisthenics is definitely one of the hardest things I've ever done, especially at my stature. I'm 6'6", right? I weigh about 200, 210, depending how much I eat. I try to keep my weight low just because it makes it so much harder if you're super heavy. So I keep it around there. You know, it's definitely more ideal if you're like 5'5", 5'6", 5'8", you know, around there and you're light, you're gonna have a nice time. It's still gonna be hard, but you have a nice time. But for us bigger athletes, it's definitely a challenge. And something about that, being able to just defy that challenge is what really made me like dive into calisthenics. Start at level 0 and work your way up gradually. Exact same thing. But in general, it's gonna suck, but it is very, very rewarding. All right, I'm not even gonna lie and sugarcoat it. Calisthenics will change your life. It genuinely will. Everything from my physique to my mental state, my friends, people around me look at me and they're like, this person is crazy. And not crazy in the bad way, but they're like, your work ethic is insane. You don't even have to say anything about yourself. You just walk in a room somewhere and someone looks at you and they're like, this guy is so-and-so. They already have their preconceived notion of you, right? You're calm, you're collected, you're strong, right? You walk into a room, the spiritual energy, you're already shifting the room. That's the reality when you train something like this consistently and you're about that life. The main thing I want you to take away from this is it's gonna suck, but it's gonna be rewarding, all right? You will be rewarded for your effort. It's not like things where you'll do it, you work super hard, and no one will care, right? And let's be honest, right? We're human beings. We desire to be noticed. We desire to be cared about. We desire to have the things that we do have meaning, right? So you're not just saying, oh, I work out for myself and you're gonna hide in your room. No, you're gonna show it off. You're gonna walk around and people are gonna notice. And for a lot of you, that's maybe something you want. Maybe you feel invisible, you feel weak, and you want something to level yourself up. This is definitely what's gonna do it. If you like me or what I say, I wanna hear more of it. I try to post daily on Instagram and TikTok. You can follow me there for the short clips. And I also drop little short tutorials on there. If you want some advice or support or even help with your diet or nutrition, I do offer one-on-one coaching. If you're interested in that, it is below. Well, with that, subscribe. We're almost to 40K. That's crazy, honestly. I think it's mostly shorts, but that's still crazy.